Hello creators, welcome back to another video. Today we're using the Friendly Hello bundle from the Celebration flyer. I cannot wait to show you this project. Let's go! Today we are hopping with the creators blog hop. Make sure you go into the description box below to check out the coordinating blog post so you don't miss out on some amazing celebration inspiration. We are starting off with a standard white card base. This is cut at 5.5 by 8.5 and scored in the middle at 4.25. We are using the Friendly Hello stamp set, and this stamp set is amazing. We are also pairing it with the coordinating DSP. These items are from the Celebration flyer, and you can get them free with a $100 order. Make sure you order before the 28th of February. These will not be available after that time. I went into this card not having any inspiration or ideas on what I wanted to do. So when I have no clue how to get going, I just start by stamping. I wanted to choose some colors that were in the paper, so I decided to use the Pale Papaya and the Fresh Freesia. Those colors are beautiful together. I absolutely love the orangey yellow with that pale purple, and I decided to pair it with black. I'm using the Stays-On ink because I will be watercoloring a little bit later. I decided to stamp my sentiment a bunch of times. I also stamped several of the images. I absolutely love this bird sitting on the branch of flowers, so I wanted to include several of those as well. I stamped those in the Stays-On ink because I knew I would watercolor those. I stamped some leaves and some of those little floral bits. And then I did quite a few of the little sprigs. And then after that, I made sure to clean my blocks, and I used the Stays-On cleaner to do that. This cleaner is amazing and I absolutely love it. Highly, highly recommend if you are using the Stays-On ink. Once I got my stamps nice and squeaky clean, I got back to stamping a few more of those sprigs in both the Fresh Freesia and the Pale Papaya. I don't have any of the re-inkers for these colors, so I squeezed the Stampin' pads to get a little bit of the ink from the pad onto the lid. I put a little drop of water from one of my aqua painters. We no longer carry these aqua painters, but I have not yet purchased the water painters to replace them. So I am coloring in the bird and the flowers with this Pale Papaya, and then after I color them all in, I'm going to go back in with the Fresh Freesia and just add a little bit of accents to the flowers. It just gives it a little pop of color and it looks so pretty. I also colored in these smaller little buds, and now I'm getting ready to fussy cut out all of these elements. I definitely could have used a die cut to cut out these sentiments, but I did not think about that until after I got the scissors out and started cutting everything. For all of the other elements, I made way more than I need for one card, but I did make 3 cards at the same time. I will be posting those other 2 cards later on this week, and you can take a look at those on my blog. Now for the magic. If only it were that easy. So I am just littered with choices now. So I, again, didn't have necessarily a plan going forward with this card. I just kind of grabbed a few elements. I had a vague idea. I knew I wanted it to be a white card base and be very clean looking. I know that I wanted to use the gold foil or the gilded leafing that we have, and I absolutely love it. And I knew that I wanted to use some of this designer paper. So I pulled out the painted labels dies and I got this fun swirly die out. And I knew that I was going to use that kind of as the base to my focal point. So I cut that out using the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I adore this little guy so much. It fits right on my desk and I can still use all of my other tools. It's not too big, it folds up. I am a huge fan. So I did a lot of cutting out of that shape just so that I would have extras for the other cards that I'm making. And then it was time to kind of piece together the things that I had cut out. I did post on my Instagram. Make sure that you go follow me over there at MKre8tions. I did a little sneak peek of one of my cards. So if you are over there, you'll see that. As far as building up the elements to kind of figure out what I wanted to do, I'm a big advocate for place first, glue later. So I'm just picking out some of the pieces that I think would look really nice on the card and kind of putting them where I envision them going. So I wanted to do a good mix of the purple and the peach color, but I also wanted to get some black in there to really anchor everything down. And once I had kind of a rough idea of what I wanted, then it was time to figure out the rest of the card. So I was so excited to use the gilded leafing, and I'm a huge gold fan, specifically rose gold, but I will take gold in place of that if I can't have it. I knew that I wanted to put some of that gilded leafing on the background of the card, so I got out my liquid adhesive and I started to just kind of paint the card base with this adhesive, and I just kind of scribbled it all over. I am kind of running out of this, so I used it very sparingly, but you just need enough to stick down these very feathery, floaty pieces of this gilded leafing. I would have used tweezers, but I decided to use my snips instead, which may not have been the best idea because now the tips of my snips are kind of gold. So I would recommend using a different tool. However, I just used my scissors to kind of spread it out over the glue so that it stuck in certain areas. I know I'm a little off frame, but I'll fix that for you here in just a second. After I got all of the gold down and I tried to scrape off as much of the excess as I could, I wanted to get all of my other elements in place. So I used our Stampin' seal to put down that fun swirly design that I cut out of my designer series paper. And then from there, I built all of my other elements on top, and I cannot wait to show you how this card is coming together. While I am putting it together, let me remind you about going to the coordinating blog post. You can find that on my website at MKre8tions.com. You can also click on the description box below if you're watching this video on YouTube. I have a bunch of photos as well as the measurements and materials that I used on today's project. We're also hopping for the creators blog hop for February, and our theme is celebration inspiration. So if you wanted to find a little of inspiration for some of the amazing celebration products that we had in this year's flyer, do not hesitate. Jump on over there and start hopping through the blog hop. Now it's time to pick the sentiment color. I had a hard time deciding which one I wanted to go with, but I think the black really stood out the most, and that's the one I ended up going with. I wanted to pop this up, so I used the Stampin' dimensionals to give it some dimension. And then once I got that down, I wanted to put on some of the pearls. These are some of my go-to accessories for all of my cards. These and the rhinestones are my absolute favorite. I popped a few of those all around the card just to give it a fun little texture. And then after that, I knew I wanted to put some ribbon on here, so I used this pool party sheer ribbon, and I wasn't exactly sure where to put it at first, especially because I had already put my sentiment down, so I was a little limited on trying to tuck it underneath. But I ended up going over the top, kind of between the L and the O. It ended up working beautifully. I used my scissors to kind of sneak it in there, and I think it worked out just fine. I am so excited with how this card turned out, and I can't wait to share the other two designs that I came up with this material as well. For the other two cards, I really wanted to try to make sure that I could do two brand new cards using the exact same materials, just using them in slightly different ways. So I hope you are ready for those coming this week. Make sure you subscribe to my blog by putting your email in on my newsletter list so you don't miss out. This card is gorgeous. It came together beautifully, and I am so happy with this end result. Please make sure that you like the video, hit that subscribe button to see more videos like this, and let me know down below what your favorite celebration product is for 2022. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you on the next video. Bye!